no, here we go.
But I know it's more of a,
I'm the only.
black people
I'm
and white
46, right? And
Oh,
I
we're
think it's supposed to
recording
be
now.
done.
He's
Where you do to oh, when I fall, I'm still happy. Oh, and I'll tell you why you should be too. Because when I fall,
doing her thing. One of the most beautiful voices I've ever heard in my life.
I co-sign that.
Yes. Oh, she gives me goosebumps. So, we of course want to ask you some questions. And I don't know if either you want to start or you want me to start or.
Well, sure. Adam, that beautiful song that you just shared with all of us and all of our listeners, can you tell us, first off, before we get into any like in-depth questions about you per se, what made you write that song and what are your hopes for those that listen to it to get from it?
Well, a long time ago, my boyfriend Tony was going through a little bit of a difficult time, and I wanted to remind him that we're all human and we all fall. But at one point we did stand, and when you focus on that point of where we used to stand, you find that it's not impossible to stand again. So you realize that in your circumstances that are only temporary, and it helps you to move on and conquer those things.
That's beautiful. I mean, most people get advice from their friends or loved ones. You wrote your beautiful King of song. It stands forever.
That's right. Well, it goes both ways. Don't ever piss off a poet or a songwriter.
Well, because you will be in the next work.
That's right. I guess while we have you here, I want you to talk about, because I've heard you perform many times, and you usually give a little background to your music and your personal experience and your background. And so now that we have a different audience perhaps out there, we would like for you to share your personal background, where your family is from, a little bit of your history, and how it, I guess, helps to create the music that you perform now.
Well, my whole family prior to me, I'm a first generation American, and my whole family prior to me is from West Africa, Ghana. And our people, who we are, the pride of knowing who we are, I guess, is something that is really strong in our tribe and our community. And it's something that is, in particular with the Ga tribe, my mother cries sometimes that our language is being kind of swapped out with a more, I guess, easier language, a more widely spoken language. So that language is slowly fading, not fading too fast, but I do this because I want to, I guess for those of you who don't know, I sing in another language as well, and it's called Ga. And it's from West Africa, Ghana, and it's from the Ga tribe. And I sing in that language not only because it'll help to keep the language alive, but there are things that I see amongst a lot of the Native American youth today that really upset me. For years and years and years, they've, had their identity almost stripped away from them completely, to the point that they don't really know their culture. They don't know where they came from. They don't know who they are, and it's sad because it's their land. And to be a lost people in your own land is one of the most sad things ever. And so, me being young, I want to express the fact that, hey, knowing who you are and where you come from is extremely important, because what you pass down to your children, they will pass down to their children, they will pass down to your children. If you're just passing down loss, it doesn't really help. I mean, everything happens for a reason. At some point, someone will find their way, and things that were meant to happen, the way things were meant to be orchestrated for some people, But overall, I think it's really important for people to take pride in who they are, know where they come from. And the youth who are like me, who are multicultural, I want them to embrace their culture. I want them to embrace their language, embrace their heritage and who they are. And so me going out there and singing in my language, even though I wasn't born over there, but that's who I am, that's who I identify with. And I want people to why I do what I do, to reinforce others, saying, hey, don't be scared. You can do it too. Don't let your people down in a sense.
Mhm.
And if your people is your family and your house of four people, so be it. If it's just you, don't let yourself down. And so
That is, I mean, such a powerful statement that you made a little bit earlier about passing down lost.
That is
That-
powerful.
I see people do it all the time where they forget their ancestors and, whose shoulders they stand on. And some of it is not purposeful. It's something orchestrated by other cultures.
Yeah, and I mean, let's talk
Mhm.
about. We have to talk about how we've been westernized to believe that, here we are in this space and time that this is perfect. Let everything else go, and while you let everything else go, we're going to take everything that you have contributed to the world and claim it as our own. That's pretty deep, huh? Forget you, forget how you look, forget your family, your history.
And the things that we pass down in terms of our appearance, talking about our hair texture, our skin tone, our body shapes, and all of that, how they have been deemed ugly or not attractive, and all those types of things, and that leads into other identity issues and all of that. So there are numerous things that have been done to certain people in this country, Native American, African American.
Oh, yes.
The list goes on. Victims of colonization,
Oh, absolutely.
and in Africa as well. So, also
Mhm.
victims of colonization. But what I would love to hear, if you would be so kind, is something in your native language of God.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, let me get ready.
Oh,
Oh, God.
Sorry, too many times ago.
So we're Ghana, right? Is it Ghana?
La, 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 la.
don't you explain to us what you just sang? And you sang it in your native language, Ga. And so tell us what it meant in English so that we can connect with you there as well.
The song pretty much started out as um, when you are in need of strength, which is Hewale. It's just me praying that you will find that strength. And I'm your friend. So if not just saying like, oh, it's be Adam as your friend, but coming from the position of a friend, if you need me to lend you my strength for the time being, I can do that.
Yes.
I understand that people want, things out of your hands. Like, man, I thought it would be your day. Like, people want things out of your hands. It doesn't, I don't know how to break it down in English. I guess it's more like people want from you. People need you to give them things, and it can be anything. And at times, you exert yourself, and you're short of strength, and you don't know how you continue to carry on. And so it's just saying that I hope that Hewale will find you, and you will have Hewale when you need it.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Oh, that's beautiful,
That is
right?
beautiful.
Oh.
Now I love the song even more.
I know, right? I have your strength when you don't. It's like I'm your back when you're weak. Yeah. That's
Wow.
beautiful.
So, I guess we've had you sing 2 songs. But I would love to have you sing all night. I'm like, would you do another one? She didn't bring her drum. You play multiple instruments. And so, I think the $1 million question is, why the ukulele?
Well, I don't know. Well, I saw a couple. I've seen a couple people play the ukulele around town prior to my picking up the ukulele, and I just thought it was a beautiful. I've always thought the ukulele was a beautiful instrument, and so I just decided, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna get a ukulele. And I don't know if you guys believe in signs and wonders and stuff, but I have a witness. It was the day that I got my ukulele, and I don't know, like my instruments tend to find me. I
Yes.
don't look for them, they find me. And it was one of those situations where I found them, and I went back to my friend's house to play my new ukulele, and I was laying in a hammock, and I'm like, I don't even know why I got a ukulele. I don't even know if I'm supposed to play it. Like, this is stupid. Literally. Literally. And I looked up into the sky, and I saw these clouds, and they looked like letters. And I was like, the heck? Like, what is that? And I saw 3 letters, and it was the letters U, K, and U. And I didn't even say it. I didn't even say it out loud. I immediately asked my friend Kay. I was like, what does that say in the sky? Like, look up there and tell me what that says in the sky. And she's like, that looks like a U, K, and a U. And I'm like, yeah, that's a U, K, and U. Those are the first 3 letters of ukulele. From that moment on, I was like, yeah, I'm supposed to play this thing.
Ah, blessings, blessings.
So you taught yourself to play it. You haven't had a lesson. Wow.
All right.
I am truly impressed. I've been looking at a guitar sitting in my living room, and I'm like, oh, I pick it up and I pluck at it, and it's awful, and I put it back down.
Honestly, it just takes a lot of time and being a nuisance to everybody. Like, I carried this thing around with me everywhere I went. I played it every chance I got. I mean, I would fall asleep on my back on my bed with my ukulele in my hands, just because I'm just like, oh my god.
That's a musical spirit.
Yeah.
I had to adult, and so I haven't spent as much time every single day with my ukulele as I would like to. But that's where I started, and that's where
All right. Yes.
Now with the drums, the first time I saw you perform, this woman came out saddled with 3 drums and proceeded to mesmerize me by playing all 3. She was a one-woman band.
Yeah.
And you didn't bring any drums today with you, but I think we need to let people know where they can come and see you with all your instruments, including that beautiful voice. So, first of all, I know you play a lot of different venues. First, online, where can they get a hold of your music and hear some of your stuff, and then talk about where you're playing, where you can be seen?
On YouTube, I had this thing called bathroom sessions. It was on pause for a moment, but it's actually resuming, so it'll be up here shortly. But it's on a YouTube channel called Two Parallel Arrows, and Two Parallel Arrows is pretty much just the two languages going side by side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
wow.
Yes.
I love
but
the
yeah,
visual.
I know. I saw it too. I saw it too.
So you can just go on youtube.com two parallel arrows, or just go type in two parallel arrows or Adam Soul Music, and you'll find my YouTube channel.
All right. Anything on, tell us where your Facebook is and all of that.
Oh, sorry. I have a Facebook. It's Adam Soul Music. I also have a website. It's quite long, but it's dromoelaine.wix.com/Adam.
Okay.
For those wondering how it's spelled, it's DROMALAINE.WIX.COM/EDEM.
And it's Adam, not Edom.
I always tell people, like, it's funny because when I used to be a waitress, the hostess would tell my table, "Oh yeah, and Adam will be right with you," and then I'd show up there like, "We were expecting a boy named Adam," and I'm like, "Oh, you got me." And it's Adam. They're like, "Oh, well, she said your name wrong." I'm like, "I've been working with her for several months. I don't think she said my name wrong. I think you just thought it was something else."
That's
Yeah.
what you
I'll
want to
help you.
hear.
Right.
Not want to hear.
I'll help you. Just think of edamame without the ame. And that's my name.
That's a great way to remember your name.
That's right. But,
No, I just want to make sure that we said congratulations too that on your Omaha Entertainment Arts Award nominee, and the fact that you are making some incredible waves here, not only in Nebraska but throughout the universe. So congratulations. We wish you well. We thank you for blessing Verbal Gumbo when you've come and shared not only in song but in word. Thank you so much and congratulations.
yeah. And so, what's in the future for Adam Soul Music?
Yes.
Well, this comes to the big announcement.
Uh-oh.
Big announcement.
Hey.
I'm actually gonna have I have my own show at KPA, and it's called Expressions with Isol, and it basically just takes. I'm gonna be focusing on people that you won't normally ever hear because of stereotypes or because of not being able to access them. So it's not just focused on North Omaha acts, but it's gonna be people with different sounds, people with different forms of art expressions, and it's just gonna be them expressing themselves in the way that they do, and their views on life, what they want people to know about them, what they want people to realize and understand. I mean, we're all human beings living this life, and sometimes we worry about the wrong things. There are people who are obsessed with the Kardashians, and I mean, sometimes I don't blame them because they were programmed that way, but I mean, there are people that need to remind people of the more important things that are happening in this life, whether it's right here in the community, what happens in a normal home, or dysfunctional home. I mean, whatever things that people need to hear and what they want to teach people. So it's a chance to showcase people that you don't really get the opportunity to see and hear their walk of life, I guess, in a sense.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. So, when will it be airing? And
We're going to be shooting for December, January for it to be on TV, but I believe the channels are on Cox Fox Channel 22
Mm-hmm.
and CenturyLink Channel 3.
Okay.
All
So it's
right.
gonna be really nice. I mean, there's gonna be different thoughts of the day. There's gonna be skits in the show, a little bit of comedy. It's gonna involve a lot of people, and so it's not just gonna be like me, a person, and another person. I mean, there's gonna be an audience. There's gonna be a lot of
That
stuff.
sounds
This-
amazing.
Yeah, it
I mean, the
does.
city is essentially participating in it. So, see your city. See your city on TV.
All right. Well,
Wonderful.
congratulations again.
I forgot to have you, after we went through all of the online stuff, I know you perform occasionally with one of our favorite people in the universe, Big Wave. And
Yes, Big Wave.
yes, and I know you're performing at other venues. Here, give us your next maybe at least weeks to 2 weeks performance schedule, if you
Well, right
can.
now, I don't want to really claim the title of hiatus, but we are putting an album together, and so we're putting in the work for that.
Okay.
And I'm also putting together this. We're in taping right now for the TV show, and so it's taking quite a bit of time. So there's nothing really booked out for this week or 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
But
We are very sad to hear that, but okay.
it's okay. But stay tuned.
Yes.
All
There are
right.
wonderful things coming on.
Well,
Stay tuned.
congratulations.
We love it.
Yes. On the
Yay.
album coming up,
All
the
right.
television show coming up,
Mm-hmm.
doing big things. Adam, I want to thank you. So we have also in the house, so please stay and stick around with us, Adam. We have in the house, we have Tracy Schott,
Yes, we do, Miss Tracy.
our
is in the
spoken
house.
word / slam poet extraordinaire,
Uh-huh.
and a verbal gumbo regular
Oh,
and
yes.
supporter, whom we love. So we have you in the house, and I'm not going to put you on the spot and have you perform right away. I think we're going to ask you some questions.
All
first.
right. We want to make sure her mic is on. Is it on? It's on?
No.
Okay.
Now we got
Now
you.
we
Now we
just
got
wanted to
you.
make sure your mic was on. I think that would be really important for this moment in time.
Especially for a spoken word artist.
Absolutely. She spoke, but I didn't hear a word.
Not a word. So we're having technical difficulties. But we have Tracy here. Tracy has been with us at Verbal Gumbo for a couple of years now. And just a little background from my perspective, she has been one of the best poets I have heard in a while. She always has a great message. It's entertaining, very well put together pieces, and I just absolutely love the work that you do. So I'm a fan. That's first.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, just like we did with Adam, let's get a little of your background. Tracy Schott, what got you in to spoken word and slam poetry?
I actually used to live. I got introduced to it when I lived out in Oakland, California, and I used to go see them do it out there. That was something wow, it was like above the universe what they did out there. And I never thought I could do it. I came to Omaha, and I had a really bad car accident. And I was riding a medical van to and from, and I get on, and I have this really grumpy driver, but who was really hoping I wouldn't talk, and he suggested I do a poem and he took me to Verbal Gumbo. He said, I think you need to hear about Verbal Gumbo, because he had never heard of slam before. And so I took him to the Ohm Center, and he took me to Verbal Gumbo. There was such a warm welcome with the poem that I did at Verbal Gumbo that I just kept doing it. And yeah, thanks to Verbal Gumbo, it's just spouted off. So now, literally, poetry is almost 24/7 in my life, so I can't really complain. But I even use it now in a workshop format to help other women who are to write poetry who have suffered sexual assault and domestic violence. And then I also use it to work with amputees, fellow amputees. So
That's powerful work.
Indeed. We have always said that, well, words are powerful anyway. They can heal, they can do amazing things, they can move people to action, move people to do things that they wouldn't normally do, and such as leave out of a domestic violence situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Felicia and I know have been huge proponents of using poetry as a form of healing.
Absolutely.
I recently got to do a piece that is becoming some people's favorite piece at a conference. It was a national conference on suicide awareness and prevention, and so I'm doing the section on healing through poetry there in Kansas City, and a woman comes up to me after it, and she's got tears, and she said, Tracy, and she was my foster mom.
Oh, wow.
The last time I saw her, she was pulling me out of juvenile detention to try to give me another chance. So to have done that poem in her presence and not know that she was there was, I felt like I'd come full circle.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you going to bless the mic with that particular piece while you're here?
If you want to hear it, yeah, it's the next one I was going to bring to Verbal Gumbo this month. So
Wow. Well,
if you want to hear it, I'll definitely
we'll get the
do it.
preview, I guess.
I guess we will.
So we'll let you do the voodoo that you do so well.
Sure.
So you want to hear that one now? Then?
Of course.
Okay. He stared at me, happy, curious, unbelieving he was hearing his language spoken by me. He thought I was beautiful in mind beyond body. I should have trusted this to be true. Should have. He took me to hear his favorite poetry so I could fall in love with gorgeous. He knew I needed gorgeous. I feel so alive blew across my ear. I knew. He had that fresh smile of freedom living alive delivers. Said he didn't know he was lonely until he met me. I didn't either until he played Love and Theft. Never quite figured out how he knew to play Dylan's Love and Theft. Our lonely led to love. Our rage led to theft. You see, our words disintegrated every bone in our body, turning us so very limp we could no longer stand. We became jellyfish sucked to the bottom of our empty pool. As I hid away in the shadows, continuously afraid of the real reason I would let my heart drip through these fingertips, never to return it to its rightful place. It was closed to any new customers, tucked away into a box wrapped in melancholy bows of that beauty only he saw, and set sail down the river, never to be opened again. Years later, heart returned, emotions understood, open to new customers. I am learning to trust love. Yet still sitting on the sofa, arms wrapped tight, reminding me I am better than this self-loathing and this all-consuming self-loathing and depression. My words sting as I have given the power of it to the devil. The devil got the power my friends love deserved. Still, they held me, loved me. As those bottles of pills had slid, even though they were the ones scared, as those bottles of pills had slid all too easily down my throat, ruining my liver, they were the ones scared. As I felt no regret. This is what scared them. Miss Nina Simone sang to me, sweetheart, it is too late for regrets. Over and 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 over in my head as I sat in a county hospital behind a heavy metal locked door at a jigsaw puzzle. I do not think this is what she meant. You see, years ago in that pawn shop when 4 men convinced my mind through my body that I did not deserve to love me, I abandoned me, did not love love, could not love love from another. Now Miss Nina sings to me. Tomorrow is my turn, no more doubts, no more fears. This is my life I'm living, as I know that soon I shall be grabbing the hand of another handsome stranger, friend, lover. Pulling me eagerly outside to where the streetlights do not exist, I will share with him my favorite constellation, as it is the only gift I can afford right now. He will walk with me hand in hand down to the river, explaining to me how the fish jump up at you out here. We will dance naked to Bob Marley. We will laugh. I feel so thankfully alive. Will blow across his ear. He will know. As I have that fresh smile of freedom that falling in and loving me delivers. He will tell me that it comes from out there, the universe, God, from in here, Goddess. I will believe, for finally, I love love.
All right. Yes, that was powerful.
Yes, indeed. So you've done that at a couple of conferences, and you were preparing to do that for VG, huh?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful piece.
Yes.
Very powerful.
One of the online periscopers said you should put some music behind it, and you have a Academy Award, I think, behind that. If that's not what I think that's what I said. Yeah. So I want you to know.
Well, if Herbal Gumbo see me, I have a number of instrumentals that I work very well behind that particular piece, and since I think Fee recorded it, I can maybe listen to it a couple more times and see if I can put something together for you.
Yes. Well,
So-
I do have a piece that I actually do with a musician in town, and he's actually a heavy metal guitarist, but he comes way down, and he just approached me at a bar, and it's great.
And I tell you, the visual that I took from that piece is running naked to Bob Marley.
With one leg, I have to stress that. I love that about me.
Yes, very visual, very passionate.
Yeah, I think whenever I'm feeling a little down,
Dancing naked to Bob Marley really boosts every endorphin.
oh, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yes, it does.
And like I said, that had such a powerful, I'm like, oh, I have to try that. Got some more questions for you, and it's because I know the work that you've done and where it comes from, the place it comes from. One of the other pieces, the first piece I ever heard you do was about the death penalty.
Right,
Oh
right.
yeah, absolutely.
And it was so incredibly powerful, and it was coming out of this white woman I had never seen before and has so much truth associated therewith. First of all, talk about your background, because you're a social worker, so to
Yes.
speak. You've worked in social service for a number of years, and so kind of talk about that background and how that led to that particular piece.
Oh, yeah, that was that. It's like I joined the International Socialist Organization and became a hardcore activist. Just kind of stumbled into it because there was a cute guy selling a newspaper. I didn't realize that was going to be my journey, and I took a job investigating cases of judicial and racial bias on death row in California. This was done in conjunction with working with activists on the Mumia Abu Jamal case. And so we were trying to come from the angle of political prisoners. And we also worked with a couple in Nebraska. And at that time I didn't even, my eyes were open so wide. I was 23 when I first started. And I came from Boys Town. I just didn't have a grasp of the amount of racism that it just every day was shocking to me. Every file that would come across my desk was yet another non-white person, almost always entirely black men, who had had lies put up against them. They might have murdered, but they did not actually have extenuating circumstances. Yet somehow they were sitting on the row in San Quentin. And I met this one that I started working on his case. The warden said there's no way that he could be guilty. The judge really didn't think he could be guilty. He'd never been in a fight. He'd never broken a rule. He had never spoken out. There was no real proof. Became friends. Saw him executed. And a couple months later, got the proof that he was innocent. But back then, they still won't. It takes a lot to get post-death recognition of that. And at that time, we were organizing the demonstrations out at San Quentin. There's a line in that poem that says, "There's no need to watch horror movies once you've seen a man executed." I am now doing that piece with Alan Stevenson. who is another incredible poet in Omaha.
Oh
Yes,
yes,
he is.
yes.
And we brought that together to bring the truth of the white person and the person of color, whatever race that you happen to be, because Native Americans will be sentenced to death row quicker than a white person. And the power of doing that piece with another person is just mind blowing. I still can't get through it without my stomach getting upset. And that's what I did. I worked on trying to figure prisoners' rights. We weren't going to abolish the death penalty as much as we were trying to find ways for employment to be improved for people when they did come out of prison. Trying to find ways to get people's sentences, if not entirely commuted, maybe have them move down to life without parole. Trying to get people who were in on drug charges that really did not need to maximum security prison for somebody who was a father and a working father with a wife just because they were in the wrong part of town at the wrong time. They were really just in the wrong part of town at the wrong time. And I discovered a lot of anger. And then across my desk came two guys I went to high school with. They were my buddies in school. And I'm like, wow. It hits everywhere. People say it doesn't happen in Omaha. These are from Omaha.
Yeah.
So, and so I just started working. I started working in race activism out in Oakland. And I was like this little innocent, naive white girl from Nebraska getting, and I mean, things literally slapped around by what she was seeing. And eventually I had to stop. I was too young and too, I didn't know how to survive it.
How to process.
Yes, process is a great word. And that was actually how I got started in the poetry, because I came to Omaha and didn't find any like minds, and I get on this van with this medical van driver who's also a poet, and he's like, I was hoping he wouldn't talk, but I did. I'm a talker. And he's like, what did you do? And I'm like, well, I just finished writing a piece, Mamiya Bujamal, and the move from the viewpoint of a white person, what they could learn from it. And I had traveled around giving speeches on Malcolm X, and that's where one of my poems comes from. That says, to those 2 rows of Nation of Islam men, thank you for being scary, because they really opened my eyes again. And he quoted Mamiya Bujamal, and I just sat there and I went, okay, I got to know you a little bit more. Because here was another white person in Omaha quoting something I hadn't heard for a while. And that led to Verbal Gumbo. And
The rest is history.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if you feel up to doing that piece.
I
I leave it in your hands.
Can I take it off my phone? It's long,
Yes.
it does like about 6.5 minutes.
Yes.
But if you,
We have time.
okay, if you have,
It's a great piece. I don't know if
Oh, it is a great piece. No, it's fine.
yeah, if you have, I have to see if I can pull it up here. Because I don't have it memorized now that Alan and I divided it and put in a piece of his.
Okay.
And
I understand the process. That some things go in, some things must fall out.
Yeah, it's not going to open it, which is unfortunate. Oh, I just got a message from the guy that I'm talking to in Tucson. He just sent me a message and said, do it, do it.
Oh, he's watching. Hey, from
Yay.
Tucson.
Hello.
He is a wonderful, wonderful man.
Well, while you're looking for that,
It was my
Felicia.
phone's not going to pull it up. That's the problem.
Oh crap. Well, neither here nor there. Felicia and I usually try to do a little newsworthy stuff
Yes.
while we're here because we consider ourselves edutainers.
There we are.
We have to do the edu part. We've been doing the taining part. Well, you all have. A couple things we want to address. There was a shooting at the Slowdown, which is a nightclub, bar, performance venue, music venue, which is located off of 14th and Cumming. And um, first of all, I want to send prayers and hugs to the family of Jamar Fields,
Absolutely.
28-year-old young man who lost his life. So that's first. The reason I wanted to address it is because there's been a lot of foolishness out there in social media world regarding the venue, regarding the concert that was there. It was a hip hop concert with local artists. They were trying to portray it as this hipster spot was invaded by these colored folk. And these are the types of things that happen when you have rap music playing in this particular crowd. And first, there were a couple things. First of all, it's whether or not it's a hipster club is neither here nor there. They were talking about and when you say it's located downtown, it's located in North Omaha.
Yes.
The dividing line they have always said is Cumming Street, so like 25 feet away, you're in the hood. So let me be clear, it's not a downtown night spot. It's in a part of the city that borders two neighborhoods, and that's a great thing because it's diverse. There are lots of people there from different cultures that grace that space.
Absolutely.
There have been hip hop and rap artists that have performed there numerous times, many of them friends of Felicia's and myself, and no issues or problems. And so just because you have one idiot that shows up on Halloween with a gun, it is not the fault of an entire race of people, an entire music genre. It's one idiot with a gun on Halloween who did the most unthinkable, and that's take the life of a young man. Now that I've said all of that, we've had a lot of those code words floating around out there, and I just wanted to say this, that anytime a group of young people get together for any type of music, because violence occurs with heavy metal,
Yes.
violence occurs with other forms of rock and roll.
Yes.
We don't want to blame the art form anytime people act an ass. Can I say that on the radio?
I think you just said it. So
Okay.
I think we just don't want those blanket generalizations happening.
No, we do not. And it's because the art form is so diverse, and the people who attend these concerts come from all walks of life. I have been in the Slowdown and counted at especially when both is playing,
Oh yeah.
50-50. There's a so I have been in that particular spot. I'm not going to tell my age. But noticed a diverse group of people, and I'm sure Halloween night there was a diverse group of people there having a good time and enjoying themselves. And so you take one isolated person who is an idiot and brings a gun out with them during a night when people are supposed to be celebrating and having a good time, and actually takes the life of a human being. That is not the fault of a race of people or a musical genre. In that particular spot we're talking about, the Slowdown, it's a spot that has all types of people, and it's partially because of where it's located.
I am actually glad you brought this up. I am starting a series of programs called Marginalized, and the one's going up Friday. That's dealing with hate talk right now. But the next one that I've already started working on and have received funding for is specifically dealing with the race issue in Omaha in the arts scene. And I have talked to performers. We're going to come together to work on pieces for it. The thing is that as I'm now shopping venue, I find it very interesting. I am a country music lover, and I have seen far more fights, guns, knives at country music concerts than the hip hop shows I've been to. And I go to my share of hip hop shows, or a 46-year-old white woman, and I get called out on it too. They're like, "Oh, whose son is yours?" Yeah, and it's not Justin Gilbreth, by the way.
Oh.
Because everybody thinks that.
Whom we love.
Right. They're like, "Oh, you're Justin's mom." No.
No.
But I'm amazed by the number of people who are turning me down for this show.
Wow.
much, I get this, how many hip hop acts?
Mm.
And I will say, that's irrelevant. And, well, get back to me. And I have been told by people I've run into that. I just, again, eye opening.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
probably. I mean, it would be eye opening. Not to
Right, to
like
me.
underestimate it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
to
When you
us
don't
it
come
wouldn't be.
from,
Yeah.
right, when you don't
Right.
come from that particular realm. And I know I was first blindsided in terms of the arts scene when I worked at Love's Jazz and Arts Center, and trying to get funding for certain projects,
Right.
that certain art produced by the African American community was not even considered art.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and trying to collaborate with people for certain types of projects, not getting an icy response, or sometimes no response at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Neville Murray, who was the executive director at the time, he said, and he was from Jamaica, and he had a thick accent on occasion. And he said, it's the last bastion of racism, the acceptable racism, he was saying. And so he had been fighting the good fight for a number of years, having worked previously at the Nebraska Arts Council. So he saw it, the puppet strings long ago. And the fact that what we do is not considered art.
Yeah,
is
we're constantly
huge.
challenged to identify, label, define what we do as quote unquote black folks as art to get funded, you know.
If we're not singing and dancing
and entertaining, right?
and shuffling, or mimicking white art,
Yeah.
that's the other piece. If we're doing visual art, our paintings have to mimic old dead white artists. Same thing with our poetry. And trust me, my experience in that has been very interesting. And I won't go into that. There's not enough time.
No. But you graduated gift that.
And praises.
I would have to pull it out and memorize it. But I have a piece that I wrote about fundraising, and this is in Oakland, fundraising with another friend, and he would take me along because I was a white Midwestern looking woman.
Mm-hmm.
And you and Felicia and I talked just briefly about this one night, but I was excited to get the amount of funding I got for the show that we were discussing. There's a lot to be said about the fact that I go in looking like a Midwestern
Mhm.
soccer mom.
Yeah.
And it was just, yeah, I would go along with him
Yeah.
because, and I just can't imagine being the actual person.
Well, I was told that straight to my face. I would apply for a job at a foundation in fundraising, and they were very straightforward. It was this really old guy who sat on the board who was there for the interview, and he asked me, he said, what if one of these old curmudgeons, you go in and ask for a check, you think they're actually going to put a check in your hand?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it was straight truth. The fact is, probably not.
Right.
And I did not get the job.
I had somebody on this last marginalized show. I had somebody who had already given me $200 pull the money when they realized, okay, what does this phrase mean? When I was using real trans folk and real black folk. What does that mean? And I'm gonna be political here for a second, if you don't mind. This was out of a nice liberal Bernie Sanders supporter.
Oh.
So
The only fake black folk I know is Rachel Dolezal.
Right, see, that's what I just said.
I don't know any other ones.
You are.
I'm like, what does
Well,
this
we got
mean?
some people perpetrating something.
Iggy Azalea.
Oops. Okay, well, that's a whole nother episode we have going here.
And we're running out of time here. So, but no, I'm just floored here by what they mean, real black folk.
I brought it back to, actually Olivia Johnson and I were cracking up over that when we were driving home because she was the one that I was taking home after I got the phone call. And I just looked, I was like, and she just looks at me and she goes, girl, that's your benefit of being white. You just don't know. But I'm like, that's true. I'm like, but in that, like the preacher poem, that preacher was where he was like judging me because of the way I look, and saying that I couldn't be, that God had smite me, and that was the whole. Yeah, he has that take too.
You know, that's that's a whole nother story.
That's a
too,
whole nother
because,
show.
Yeah, because how can you, on one hand, uplift people and then diminish people simultaneously? They don't even fit together.
That ain't nothing but an ugly spirit.
Yeah.
Comes over people when they do that. And it just blows my mind. But like you're right. That's a whole nother show. We might have to address that next week.
Oh, goodness me.
Oh, but we want to thank both of you so much for coming and blessing the mic here at Verbal Gumbo on Air. And right now we're on
Ustream, yeah.
I keep wanting to call it
1690 Ustream, right? 1690 AM, and when you pull it up, it's Ustream when you see it live.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they're archived as well. So if you want to listen to the amazing Edom Soul Music Kagi, you will be able to pull up the show if you missed us live. And we'll be putting that information out on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Periscope
all that
and
good
all
stuff.
that good stuff. And smoke signals and
I love it. Smoke signals too. Wow.
all of that. And then Tracy Schott, thank you so much for all you do. You are a great ally.
Thanks. Can I pitch marginalized?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you to
Please
make
do.
sure that you pitched it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we have Marginalized is going up on Friday. We did it a couple weeks ago. It was a huge hit. It starts at 7 o'clock at the Down Under Bar. It's on 35th and Leavenworth, and side door stage. It is $8. It is poets and burlesque dancers, and
Oh, can I dance, Tracy?
you can. And
No,
Jocelyn's playing, and we are telling the true stories behind the people that conservative talk radio hate. So
You need to bust them all out.
we're using real lines that are actually spoken over the airwaves. And people have been leaving the show going, wow.
Well, the first thing, people, if you educate people, a lot of times they do the right thing once they know. You cannot unknow a thing. Once you know it, you have to act on it. You have to do something with it in your head. And so, good looking out and edutaining.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm just of the notion that people change by choice, you know. And sometimes people know better and still won't do better. Bless their hearts.
Wait, we gonna pray over those.
Right?
But thank y'all so much. It's been wonderful and amazing. I love both of you to death. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
You do great work in the world, and I am just in awe of what the two of you do. So thank you so much, Edom Kagi and Tracy Schott.
Yes, thank you so much, ladies, for joining us on Verbal Gumbo Radio, the spoken word where we speak life to words and bring them power. Keep it spicy, y'all.
That's right.